where we just got to come to that, where the rubber meets the road. But understand, as we do that, we always have that foundation under us of Jesus Christ, because He is our cornerstone. Let us stand and sing cornerstone.
There's nothing that we can do to earn it. Our good deeds are just like filthy rags. But when we come in your righteousness, we can stand before your throne with confidence because of what your Son did for us. Father, as we open up your word this morning, I pray that You will speak to us as only you can. Father. We ask all these things you really do. Amen.
And we are so very grateful for all of the moms that are able to be here with us today. And for those who have gone ahead, certainly, we are grateful for their service, their work, their ministry within the families. But I must say that Mother's Day is probably one of the most emotionally charged services that I ever have to preach. Because there's all kinds of grief and loss kinds of emotions going on here, as much as there are emotions about gratitude and thankfulness and those kinds of things. And so, Matt, I say that one of the things the Lord loved to say to his disciples was, "Peace be unto you." For all of the things that you can feel and the things that you go through today, may the peace of Christ carry you. And for those who are blessed to yet have their moms and to be able to be a blessing to them, make sure you do that with your whole heart while you can. We're going to look at a rather unusual passage from 2 Chronicles chapter 14. And as we do that, I can just say that not too many people are expecting a sermon today about King Asa of Judah. But there's a principle that we want to capture here, and that is the idea of one's heart being completely pure. You read the cover of Disciples' Heart. You know that as we directed this passage toward moms, the idea was that, at least as I was praying through this and in my study, a lot of moms would react, "But wait, I'm not perfect." And I have to tell you, God knows that we're not perfect. Does he not? Isn't it obvious? And yet, when he says that our hearts can be completely his, in what regard? And so I used the story, and I'll just repeat it now for the sake of those of you who haven't had a chance to read it. Little kids, at some point in time, decide that there's going to be a Mother's Day, that they're going to get up early, and they're going to sneak into the kitchen, and they're going to make breakfast. I want to ask you a question. Will that breakfast be perfect? No, it won't be perfect, but what will you say? "Oh, thank you so much." While in the back of your mind, you're trying to imagine the condition of the kitchen and the floor between here and there, right? It's not going to be perfect. But what that was is an example of that child showing you in that moment their heart was completely yours. As you walk into the kitchen and you know that you look at that mess and you can say, what in the world? And yet you won't. Because you know that even though that kitchen is a mess and very likely you're going to have to clean it up, this was your child at work showing that their heart was completely yours. And can't God be at least as sharp as we are when we see the desire and the effort of a little child trying to show their love for a parent, that in the process of doing what we do in our walk with the Lord, he knows it's not going to be perfect. But is our heart completely his? Does he see in us a desire to be pleasing to him? Now you know why we're going to look at Asa. Asa didn't have a real good start. His mom's name is Maacah. And Maacah was an idolatrous queen. and she put up some really horrible, profane-looking statues and things during her husband's reign, and yet somehow Asa becomes king, and he has a heart for God. Now, is he going to do it perfectly? Well, let's see. But when we get to 2 Chronicles 14:9, we see a circumstance early in his reign. Now Zerah the Ethiopian came out against them with an army of 1,000,000 men. The population of the world is not really that big at this time. When you've got an army with 1,000,000 men, oh my, that's formidable. 300 chariots, and he came to Mareshah. So Asa went out to meet him, and they drew up in battle formation in the valley of Zarephath of Mareshah. And so then Asa does the smart thing. Calls out to the Lord. Whether you're a mom, whether you're a grandmother or great-grandmother, when you see the things in our culture and society that are being so formidably directed toward our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, you say, how can I possibly have any kind of impact, any kind of ability to deal with these things? Number one on your sermon notes page, on the back side of that where all the songs were, there it is. Asa called to the Lord. Prayer is going to be the key. Because if you are praying, it shows that you have a heart for the Lord. It shows that you are trying to do what's right in His sight. And Asa called to the Lord, and he said, Lord, there is no one beside you to help. You see the need for help? Help in the battle between the powerful and those who have no strength. So help us, O Lord our God, for we trust in you and in your name. So we're trusting in God.